What will he find out there, Doctor?
His destiny. This whole thing is insane. Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
We are second film of the trilogy, of the new trilogy, I should say. Bring the mic closer to me so you can hear me because I'm talking a little low today. This was very interesting because I've seen this trilogy many times before. In fact, I saw all three of them in theaters, and I remember liking Rise of the Planet of the Apes the best. I loved Rise of the Planet of the Apes. It's like one of the best Planet of the Apes movies I'd ever seen. But, and this is going to be a little spoiler for the grading at the end of it, but I actually liked Dawn of the Planet of the Apes better this time. I really, really enjoyed this movie. This was, to me, better storytelling, better character development, and much more emotional. I know that sounds weird given the emotional, how roller coaster that was Rise of the Planet of the Apes. But Dawn is a ton, it's got a ton more emotion in it. But yeah, this is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes from 2014. A nice little 2 hour and 10-minute movie. It's not too long. It is over 2 hours though. But it's just, this was, it caught me by surprise. I thoroughly enjoyed this. In fact, my fiance this time was doing her normal thing. She wasn't watching her show, but she was doing some stuff on the computer, some wedding stuff, and I caught her looking up at the TV a lot more. She was just like captivated by this, and it's very strange because I would say 70% of this movie is just apes, and hardly any of them talk. They talk with sign language, so there's a lot of subtitles, and you still feel almost more of a connection to the apes than you do the humans. It's because the apes are far more emotional, and you do spend a lot more time with the apes. With the humans, you have a group of 5 humans that you spend time with, and then there's 50, 60, some odd more at their little compound that you don't really spend a whole lot of time with. So, because this is about the dawn of the apes, and the whole movie is about pretty much that the apes are trying to live in peace. That's all it is. They just want to live, and they want to live with freedom, and they are encroached upon by a group of humans, and through no fault of the good humans, war breaks out. In fact, war breaks out because of one ape. So this was directed by Matt Reeves. I actually love Matt Reeves. He directed Cloverfield and Let the Right One In. Or he actually renamed it Let Me In. But it was a remake of Let the Right One In, and it's a great vampire movie if you haven't seen it. He also did direct the 10 Cloverfield Lane, which was fantastic, but he also directed the Cloverfield Paradox, which was not so great. But it's Matt Reeves. This was written by Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver again, but this time they had another person, Mark Barback, to actually help flesh this out, and it really, really helped because while they were really good at writing a story, he must have been the one that wrote all the emotion into it because it was very good. Your cast here: Andy Serkis is Caesar. Once again, Andy Serkis is back. He comes back for War of the Planet of the Apes as well. Andy Serkis, like I said, played King Kong. He's played Gollum and Smeagol in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Great actor, really. And it's there was a lot of people that he won an Oscar for. It was like almost like well, not an Oscar, but an award. I forgot what the award was, but it was for like basically like best animated character, like best animated acting is basically what he won. And there were people that like really went to bat for him. Primarily Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman was like all he was doing was acting, but in a suit. Like he's still acting. Those facial emotions, the facial expressions, everything is still him. So he's still acting. So why does he have to have a specialty award? Why couldn't he just win a best acting award? You know. Me personally, I think the woman who played, a woman plays Maurice, the orangutan. I think that she kind of deserves a lot more accolade because she, especially in war, in this one too, but especially in war. I remember when war came out, there was an animal activist group that were specialized in primates, and they were absolutely blown away by the acting of her, the woman who played the orangutan Maurice, because she did the mannerisms so well that they actually thought that they just got a real orangutan to do it. And it's like, you know, that takes skill to be able to do that. And Andy Serkis does the same thing. But we also have the return of Cornelia. She was in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, but we never got to see her. And this time she's played by Judy Greer. So, yeah, Judy Greer, she's the one that she never gets a leading role. She's always playing like a supporting role, and that kind of sucks because she's really cool. My horror family will know her as Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter in the 2018 Halloween. We have Malcolm, played by Jason Clarke. And Jason Clarke is what I call a that guy. What I mean by that guy, it's whenever you watch a movie and he appears on screen, you go, hey, it's that guy. You know, like you don't know his name, but you know him from somewhere. Unfortunately, a lot of people know him from Terminator Genisys, which was not great. It was not great at all. He's been in a ton more stuff, though. A ton more. So, a lot of horror. We also have who plays his love interest, Ellie, played by Kerry Russell. Kerry Russell, once again, great actress. She was in a great show called The Americans. But here she is love interest, and it's a very interesting love story. I'll get into it, but it's a very interesting one. We have Blue Eyes. Couldn't find a really good picture of the guy who plays him because he's not a very well-known actor. His name is Nick Thurston. Blue Eyes is this is Caesar's son. He is a teenager trying to become leader, become a warrior. In the very beginning of the movie, he gets attacked by a bear, so he has these claw marks throughout the entire movie. But Blue Eyes, they call him Blue Eyes because he's the first ape born with blue eyes. And then you have your antagonist, and this is very blurry here, but he is considered an antagonist. This is Dreyfus, played by the amazing Gary Oldman. Everyone knows my love for Gary Oldman. I don't shut up about Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman is he is absolutely one of my favorite actors in history. Top 5 easily. I mean, the dude can do anything. Leon the Professional was where I saw him first. And he blew me away in that movie. And then The Fifth Element, of course, God, he's just so damn good at what he does, and he can play any role. He was in Harry Potter as Sirius Black, and he's so good. And in this, it's no different. He actually has a very minute role in this. He's only in a handful of scenes, and I'll get into why he is considered the antagonist here, but I do not consider him an antagonist. The antagonist in this movie, to me, is Koba. Koba, played by Toby Kebbell. He is a evil little thing. He is an ape that is very manipulative. He is one of the smart apes that got shot with the virus. So he does have the green eyes. He's or the green eye, because he is missing an eye. He's just so evil in this, and he is by far the antagonist in this film. So we'll get right into this. James Franco, if you notice, I did not mention James Franco. James Franco didn't return because Rupert Wyatt left the production. Rupert Wyatt was the director of Rise of the Planet of the Apes. The reason why he didn't come back is because the release date was locked in, which means that the movie has to be done by that date. They can't push it back. It's locked in, and Rupert Wyatt just didn't feel... Wow, I said Wyatt with a really bad southern accent. But anyway, Rupert Wyatt was just didn't feel like there was enough time to do this. And he's like, to do the scale of this movie, it's going to take time. And Matt Reeves got it done, but Rupert Wyatt is more of a perfectionist. So, whenever Rupert Wyatt stepped out, they actually contacted another guy, and he unfortunately turned it down, but that was Guillermo del Toro. Yes, Guillermo del Toro. Another one of my favorite directors. He directed Blade 2. I mean, that's what a lot of people know him from, but I know him from Pan's Labyrinth and stuff like that. Devil's Backbone. Oh, man, that's a good one. But he's just a phenomenal director. But, yeah, he turned it down. So, the movie itself... probably I'm going to try to go a little bit point by point this time, but this is a great movie. It really, really is. Like, insanely good movie. So starting in the movie, it's just a little montage of the simian flu spreading. This is the virus caused by what they were shooting the apes up with. The simian flu is spreading, and it's very weird because if you watch it right now, it seems extremely familiar. They're talking about quarantines. If you're coughing, wear a mask. I mean, it goes like down the line of coronavirus. It's very strange, but it's very cool. But it is a movie, so it's like the virus is spreading. This is killing people left and right. A lot of people are dying. Basically, it's wiping out the human race. And then we start the movie with the apes getting ready, what looks like for war, but they're actually hunting. They're hunting deer, and they're taking out the deer. But there is a bear that attacks Blue Eyes and Caesar. Caesar calls for help. Koba comes out of nowhere and kills the bear. And we're thinking, oh, cool. Koba and Caesar are bros. All right. Well, they get back from the hunt, and we get to meet the rest of the crew with Cornelia giving birth to Cornelius, Caesar's new son. So he has two sons now. But this whole start is basically showing you that this is a community of apes. They have built homes in the redwoods, where the woods that they escaped to at the end of the last movie. And it has clearly been quite a bit of passage of time. I think they said the movie takes place in 2029. So the first one took place in like 2011. So we're talking like a few years. Well, no, it actually didn't take place in 2011. I think they said that Caesar was in his 20s. So in his 20s, and he was 18 at the end of Rise. So it's been about 5 years, I'd say. But humanity has died out. In fact, whenever the apes are talking, they have a moment where he says, "It's been a long time. It's been two winters since we've seen a human." And it's like, okay, cool. And all right, so humans are dead. That's all right. And we have Blue Eyes and Rocket's son, Ash. Rocket was the ape in Rise that had alopecia that bullied Caesar in Rise. But he's kind of, Koba is Caesar's right-hand ape. And Rocket's kind of his sergeant. So they're very close. So Ash and Blue Eyes are buddies, and they actually run into a human. This is where the movie kind of takes off. The human ends up shooting Ash. It shoots him in the arm, doesn't kill him, but this sets off a whole. Just dropping a pebble in the water sets off all the ripples, and all the apes show up because they hear the gunshot, and it is our Malcolm, Ellie. It's our group of humans, and they're like, and we have a moment that gave me goosebumps, even though I knew it was coming, with Caesar staring at him, and Malcolm's like, everybody lower your weapons. We're not here to hurt you. Just lower your weapons. And everyone lowers their weapons, and Caesar yells, go. He's just like, go. And it's like very terrifying, just goosebumps. So, yeah, they leave. And then we meet the other half of the cast, which is the humans, where we meet Gary Oldman and everything, and we learn that the reason why they were in that part of the woods is they are looking for a dam that can supply power, because they are running out of gasoline to power their generators. And without this dam, they're going to go into pretty much the Stone Age. They're going to be in the Stone Age because they will not have power. They will not have anything. They will not be warm. They will live in the cold, which is weird. It takes place in San Francisco. And I was watching, when I saw this in theaters, I was sitting in a row, and down the row a ways, I heard a girl say, but it's San Francisco. It's always warm there. No, it's not. I went to San Francisco to see a friend because we were going to a music festival, and I went to San Francisco. I went to California, and I packed shorts and t-shirts, and I was like, oh, warm weather, all right, always sunny. And the entire time I was there, it was like 50 to 60 degrees. I was like, whoa. I got there, and he was like, you didn't pack any long sleeves or anything? Dude, it's winter. I'm like, but it's California. I thought it was going to be warm all the time. Like, I was like, no, that's not the way it works. And he's like, no, it's cold. So I was like, oh, okay. So, like, yeah, he gave me a jacket, luckily. But I did the same thing when I went to Alaska. I packed all long sleeves and stuff, and it was like 70 degrees the entire time. I'm like, damn. I need to do more research whenever I go visit a place, and I have done that ever since then. Like, anytime I go anywhere, there's a ton of research done, because I'm not going to be cold. But anyway, yeah, they need the dam, and so our hero Malcolm gathers up his crew again, the same crew that traipsed into the apes, and he's like, look, we have to go talk to him. He seems reasonable. But the thing is before he can set out to do so, all of the apes kind of storm the compound where all the humans are, and it is one of the most, and I wish I could have found even if I would have found a video of this, it would not have done it justice. You have to actually watch the entire movie up to this point, but it is super intense. Like, it is ridiculously intense. Only Caesar talks, and he talks in full sentences, broken sentences, and he basically said, like, apes don't want war, and he gives this long speech. It's super intense, and at the end of it, he says, he points to the behind him, he says, ape home, human home, and rides off, and it's like, God. And for a kind of a what do you call it? A peace offering, I guess. A peace offering. They do one of the kids, whenever they're traipsing off into the apes' territory, drops a bag, and the peace offering is Caesar gives the bag back. He comes in riding his horse with the bag and just drops it, and he's like, it's your bag. You can have your crap back. I don't want it. So they do, but Malcolm is still like, no, he seems reasonable. We really have to do it. And there's a point in this where they're driving back when he's trying to tell Gary Oldman, no, he talked, and Gary Oldman's like, no, he didn't. You didn't hear that. And then when Caesar's like, Ape, no, what war? Like Gary Oldman's like, oh God, he could talk. It's like so great. But Malcolm traipses off back in there, and he leaves his crew. He's like, look, I'm going at it alone here. He's like, I'm going to go see Caesar alone. And he actually talks him in. He's like, look, man, we need this. Please let me just show you this, and I'll show you. We'll show you what we need. And they end up going there, and they make a deal. It's basically, you give us all your guns. They do. They give up all their guns, and the apes smash all the guns. It's like, you give us all your guns, and you promise never to come back, and we will let you at this dam, and we will let you fix it. And it's pretty cool that they do it. But it's at this point like where you realize that, where I'm like, is Dreyfus so bad? Dreyfus is Gary Oldman's Gary Oldman's antagonist character. I'm like, he's really just protecting what little humanity is left. And he does have a moment where it's like he's talking about like, well, we really need that dam. And if we don't get the dam, then we go in there and we kill him. We have the firepower. We have all the guns in the world. Let's just go kill the apes. And yeah, that's an antagonist thing to say, but at the same time, it's like, if you really look at it from his point of view, like, you were going to die. You're not going to have power. You're not going to have heat. You're not going to have warmth. You're not going to have the ability to cook your food. And what is keeping you from this is a group of animals that you have known your whole life to be beneath you. And so why do they get to keep this part? So it's really hard to look at him like an antagonist, because he never really does anything like that an antagonist would do. He doesn't antagonize. He really is protecting his crew. You know, it's almost like a less violent Negan thing, where Negan is just protecting his people. He just goes about it in a really violent and horrible way. But Dreyfus doesn't. So I don't know how bad he really is. And then you have Malcolm and Caesar, which Malcolm and Caesar are pretty much the exact same. They're just trying to protect what little they have. They have home, they have family. That's it. That's all they're trying to do is live. So Malcolm and Caesar are exactly alike. And then you have Koba and Dreyfus, who are trying to protect what is theirs in violent ways. So it's like two groups of the same. Very, very cool storytelling. And I know I'm spending a lot of time on this because I'm 23 minutes in, and I ain't even halfway done with the movie. So now it's time to speed through the movie. But so they make the deal, and Koba's not happy about it. He doesn't want to work with humans, and he gives a great scene as to why he doesn't want to work with humans, because Caesar is explaining to him, look, if we just let them do their human work, they will leave us alone and we can live in peace. And Koba has a fantastic comeback where he is covered in scars, and he starts going, human work. He's like, and he like points at his eye, he's like, human work. Points at his neck where he has a scar, human work. And he points at all the scars, keeps saying human work. And he's like, I was in their cage. I was tortured by them for years. Like, why can't you see that humans are bad? It's like a great scene. He actually infiltrates the human compound later to look to see how many guns, and he gets caught. And he's an intelligent ape, so he pretends to be a circus ape because he realizes most people don't realize how dangerous these apes are. So he starts like play acting, doing flips and doing stupid crap. And they let him go. They're like, oh, he's just lost. Just let him go. They let him go. It's like, all right, cool. And when he's out, he's like, It's like, holy crap, dude. He flips it on, and it's like, Koba is, even though he's like the antagonist and one of the most evil little beings, he's one of my favorite characters. I love Koba. But Caesar does have fights with Koba, because Koba finally, he says, you love human more than ape. And it sets Caesar off, and he beats the living hell out of Koba, and Koba has to bow down to him. So it's like, okay, cool. So Koba's all right. And so Koba gets pissed off. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to go do this. And he's going to set something up. So he goes and he's going to go steal some guns. He goes and he actually kills the 2 people that let him go because he acts like an idiot again. And they're like, oh, he's funny. And he picks up one of the guns and he starts swinging it around. And they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. And he like just kills them both. And he's just like, what's up? It's so cool. And then Koba pulls off his what do you call it? I don't know what they call it. It's where he does his little fake out. He gets up there and he actually sets the ape sanctuary on fire and then shoots Caesar and puts the gun down. And everyone's like, oh no, the humans have shot Caesar. He's like, we'll go get the humans. And they has war. Koba storms the compound with all the other apes, and it's a massive war, and a lot of apes die because they're going against firepower that they can't go up against. But the first thing, Koba is smart. He attacks the armory first and steals a crap load of guns. So he goes in there, and there's a great scene where one of the gorillas picks up a barrel and throws it. And Matt Reeves said that was indeed a shout out to Donkey Kong. So he throws it. This is really cool. But Koba ends up taking over a tank and does actually win the day. And they start rounding up the humans. And they think they're just going to round him up, put him as prisoner. But Koba starts telling the apes to kill. In fact, he grabs Ash. He's like, Ash, kill this. And Ash says, Caesar wouldn't like this. At this point, they think Caesar's dead. But really, I'll get to that here in a second. He picks Ash up, throws him, kills Ash. So Koba, ape has killed ape. He broke rule number 1. Ape has killed ape. So the humans actually find Caesar and bring him back, and Caesar tells them where to go. They end up going to his old home, and here's something that I did not realize when I watched the movie the first time. I said in the last episode that James Franco just disappears. We never find out what happened to him. We actually do. If you watch the movie, he goes to his old home. You see an X on his door, which means infected. So he was infected. And then some of you are saying, well, he could have drove away and escaped before the infection happened. No, they cover that. The Jeep he drove, or not the Jeep, yeah, it's a Jeep. The Jeep he drove, the wood panel Jeep, you see it in front of the house and it's covered in vines. So he didn't go anywhere. So he's gone. He got infected and he died. And I'm like, I didn't notice that until just now. It's like, okay. They don't really cover it that well. But so they find out that Blue Eyes finds out that Caesar's alive. So he's going to have to go rescue all of Caesar's friends, because all of Caesar's friends are chained up because Koba's like, you're too loyal. You're a prisoner now. And Blue Eyes releases them in the coolest way possible. They're all trapped in a bus, and they tip the bus over, and a bunch of the other bad gorillas, or not gorillas, but apes are hanging on the bus, and they squish them. It's like, yeah. They escape, and they leave while Caesar's waiting. He finds a camcorder. He sees a home movie of Will, James Franco's character, and it's a really sad moment and stuff. And it's like, you have a really good moment between Malcolm and Caesar at that point too, which is really cool. But they make Caesar better because Ellie, Malcolm's squeeze, is a medical doctor. So they actually fix him. Everything's cool. Not before see, Malcolm has to go out and get all the first aid stuff, and that's where he runs into Blue Eyes. And he's like, your father's alive. Come with me. It's like, all right. But they all march onto the compound because Caesar's going to take out Koba, and it has a great moment where Caesar acts like a human through this whole series, and he acts like a human in a big way right here because they go down to the subway, and all the apes hop over the turnstiles, but Caesar walks through it. He actually walks through the turnstile. So I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. While they go into the tower, Malcolm finds out that Dreyfus has rigged the tower to blow. He's one of the only of 3 survivors that got away, and he has C4 all around the towers, and he says he's going to blow it up and take out all the apes. Ooh, yeah. And before that can happen, we get Koba versus Caesar Part 2, and this is an all-out war. They're battling. Koba even has a gun and uses weapons in this, and it's fantastic. But during this, Dreyfus actually kind of gets away from Malcolm and has the detonator, and he's like, "Please don't do it." Malcolm's like, "Please don't do it. What are you doing?" And he says, "I'm saving the human race," and hits it. Boom, and it takes out a bunch of apes. But we get to the fight, and Koba is hanging on for dear life. And he says to Caesar, "Ape, not kill ape." So Caesar grabs his wrist and picks him up, and he says, "Koba, not ape," and chucks him. And he's dead. But that's not the end of the movie. The end of the movie is everyone coming out and all the apes being okay. He's like, "Look," and Malcolm's like, "Look, you got to go. I'll help you out, and the best way I can." He's like, because they've called in reinforcements. When the lights came on, when they fixed the dam, they called for reinforcements from the north, and then Caesar's like, "Just go." He's like, "You need to leave." He's like, "There's nothing you can do." Basically, he's like, war has come. He's like, apes are going to be in war, and he's basically, apes started war. So he knows Koba has started the war, and that's where it ends. It ends on a big zoom in on his eyes. That's the end of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I sped through it, and I missed a lot of points. But it's one of those things, man, you've got to see the movie. It's very good. I loved it. So, in fact, I gave it 8.5 out of 10. It got a higher rating than Rise of the Planet of the Apes did. Yeah. In fact, I think the only movie better than this one so far is the original 1968 Planet of the Apes. So, take that. Yeah. But next up, the final movie. This is it. This is the final movie in this series. And then I'll do the retrospective episode, and that'll be it. But we're doing War for the Planet of the Apes. It was made in 2017. Matt Reeves is back as a director, and it's all coming together. And in this one, we have, for Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, we had one of my favorites in Gary Oldman. And for War of the Planet of the Apes, we have another one of my favorites in Woody Harrelson. So Woody Harrelson is the bad guy here, and he is a really bad guy. He's like so terrifying. But yeah, but that is it, man. This one's starting to run a little long, so I'm gonna have to go it down a little bit. So yeah, but thank you for watching this Dawn of the Planet of the Apes episode. I love this movie. This is fantastic. So hopefully you'll join me for War for the Planet of the Apes. It's going to be war. War has come. Apes.